his next game is actually Nevada at Notre Dame. Is that right, Mike?
That is correct, Dan. On the day before the Football Night in America debut on Sunday night.
Okay, wait a minute. So, are you playing golf?
I am. How could you tell?
The wind gave it away, Mike.
I'm quickly retreating to the lightning shelf, even though it's not lightning. Fritzy got to me a minute early. I don't have the speed I used to.
All right, so Nevada at Notre Dame. Let me get this right. So Thursday night you'll be in Denver with us for Denver and Carolina.
No.
Oh, you won't be.
I can't. Yeah, as is in your contract, we can't be in the same place.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, so I will not be there. But I've got a taped piece to add to your show on Thursday, and then I will see you from Arizona on Sunday before the Pats and the Cards, and then I'll be coming there from Nevada, Notre Dame, which is cool. I've never done a game in South Bend because since I was working at ESPN, it's always been with NBC, so I am so fired up to get there. It'll be great.
Have you gone to a game there?
No.
Oh, man.
Have not.
It is. Well, we went with the Danettes last year, USC Notre Dame, and
right.
It's just the atmosphere is great. It lives up to what you think it will. The people, old school. I mean, you do walk into sort of a time warp a little bit there, and it's great. I'd like to hear from you once you do it. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are after.
Absolutely, and I live in Ann Arbor, so you get a chance to go to one of those college football cathedrals like there are in the SEC, and it's just. You never grow old when you look at that field and you say, you know what? They've been playing football here for 70, 80, 90 years. And there are very few. When you think about sports, there are very few of those cathedrals left. The Forum's gone. The Montreal Forum's gone. Yankee Stadium's gone. Fenway, Wrigley, obviously Lambeau reconstructed. Soldier Field, same site. But the Bears didn't start playing there until around 50s or I think early 1960. They used to play at Wrigley. There are very few of those places left. College football has them, and that just adds to it for me.
Yeah, we're talking to Mike Tirico of NBC Sports. Now, clear up the elephant in the room where what your job was when you came to NBC of calling Thursday night games, because it almost felt like the NFL was saying, no, Mike's not we don't want Mike doing Thursday nights, but they entrusted you with Monday Night Football. So, you were kind of caught in between there, so I'm curious how this played out and what you were told going into this deal with NBC.
Yeah, well, it was reported or assumed, it was assumed that I was going to do Thursday nights once I left ESPN to come to NBC. But in fact, that was just an assumption that was made. Nobody ever stated that or said that. When I agreed to the deal, we figured that we will work out whatever my NFL assignment is. There was plenty of real estate knowing that NBC added the Thursdays and the Sundays. And one of the things that had been discussed early on in the conversation was, we'll have you do the Sunday nights as Bob will do the Thursdays, as everybody now knows. So that was sitting out there for a while, and we knew that. And then the rest of it was to be figured out as we got through. And the way it's ended up, it ends up with the 2 preseason games, 2 games at the end of the year, and the first part of the Notre Dame schedule while Dan Hicks is doing the end of the PGA Tour season. So the fact that I was going to be the Thursday night guy was just an assumption. It was never anything that was decided in advance and has created a whole life of itself. I'm just glad that people really care about what I do in the fall. And nobody in my house really cares. They're, oh, you're home again? What are you doing here? So it was nice to be the part of conversation. In fact, Dan, to be very honest, the only demand that I made in the contract negotiation was the opportunity to fill in for you with the Danettes at some point over the next few years. That was the only demand. And NBC would not let that happen. So hopefully you can at some point.
Wow. Are you sure you want to do that?
Yes. I want to hear about Fritzy's injuries like yesterday.
The frog?
That Fritzy's. Yes. I want to hear all of that. I want to hear this witty repartee about when did you get hurt, and I want to hear you tell us of the 37th time that you blew out your knee. I want to hear that stuff. That's too good.
Well, I've blown it out 5 times, Mike. So
5 times.
That means I've told you over 150 times about blowing out my knee.
That's exactly right. So I look forward to that at some point in the next few years, working as part of the extended DP Show family.
You were in Carolina.
Yes.
were you doing interviews for the Thursday night game in Carolina?
I was. Spoke to Cam Newton.
Oh, okay. So you had to sit down with Cam that will air on Thursday night with the season opener. What was what you wanted to get to, and what did you get out of Cam Newton?
Well, I wanted to see what the size of the scar was, and how you are portraying the healing of that scar. And it's going to come down to Cam, because for a lot of us, even though he's done a Nickelodeon kids show during the off season, which is actually kind of humorous, and you've seen him here or there, for a lot of us, the last image was 13 questions over 150 seconds with the hood on after the Super Bowl and pouting Cam, which goes back to the first couple of years when I think the record was 13 and 19. And it was the first lack of success that he had in football. And what I found was a guy who I think understands that even if you are crushed and disappointed, you still have to face the music. And there's a better way to do it. And perhaps if he had 10 or 15 more minutes before he got to the podium, it would have been better. He did not use that excuse at all. He owned it. He was honest about it, and is talking about the potential growth from here for this team. And I think the bigger thing I came away with was Ron Rivera's message to his team. And he's talked to other people around football and other sports. We don't start as the NFC champs playing in the Super Bowl. We start 0-0. And the more our guys know that right from the start, the better chance we have of getting back there.
After a few days to let it soak in, what do you think is the long-term effect with what Colin Kaepernick is doing?
The long-term effect, it started some conversations. Now, I think you played the actual sound bite yesterday, and I thought that was really good, because I think, as is common practice now, we take an issue and we find the hot take that best fits our show, our conversation point, and we get away from what the crux of what he said was. I think the main takeaway is you have the right to protest, and if you do that, that's great. Do understand that your method of protest will alienate a lot of folks. And in a country that's very divided, one of the few things that we're still all together on is, for most people in America, respect for the country, respect for those who served, the symbol that the flag stands for a lot of people.
The mothership said they're not going to show this opening night, that Monday night game. If you were still doing Monday Night Football, if he's sitting on the bench during the anthem, and in all fairness to him, they said we don't show the anthem on TV. You try to time it up.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Hang on a second. They don't show the anthem on the second game of the doubleheader, which is absolutely true. We've shown, when I was there, we showed the anthem all the time for the first game, and for almost every Monday night game over the last 2 years, we would show the national anthem. Here, you're always in that situation where you're joining that second game. Usually you try to go right from the end of one game to the start of the next. You're not going to leave the end of, I think it's Steelers-Redskins, with a minute 12 left to go show the anthem in San Francisco. But they certainly will roll it back in, if not immediately, within 3 or 4 minutes. So I don't think anyone's not showing it. I think it's more logistics here than anything else.
Would you do picture-in-picture, though? Would you do split screen? Let's say you're ending that first game, and then you show the anthem live as it's happening in the Niners game.
If it's 2 minutes or 4 minutes, does it really matter? If I was showing it live, I would make it part of the pattern of the shots you show. You show the flag, you show the scene, you show you show Kaepernick wherever he is, and then you go back to showing other people along the way to document the full story, just like your eyes would be in the stadium. Everyone else is doing this, he's not, and make that part of telling the story within the national anthem. I wouldn't, at Steelers-Redskins 17-13 with a minute 30 left, go two-box it. I mean, tonight you're going to get an answer to what happens.
Yeah.
And now it will have happened twice. And will it happen a third time? By the third time, we kind of know what the drill is here. So I don't necessarily see it as a big issue unless you bury it and don't talk about it. And I assume it will be talked about within the first 3 to 5 minutes of the broadcast.
Mike is
and shown too.
Mike is playing golf. Do you want to hit a shot for us?
No, I don't. I'm actually, this is as good as it possibly gets. I'm walking 9 holes with my daughter who's playing high school golf.
Okay,
and
but
it's the cool.
can't you just hit a give us a wedge shot? Let's just hear how it sounds.
I've walked away from the tee so I could do this. I'm waiting to play a par 3. I can text Fritzy and give you an update on what I shoot. It's 164 yards, slightly downhill, a bunkered all around par 3 with the wind blowing left to right about 10 miles an hour. I'm going to take 7.
I was going to say, you always take out a little more club, Mike.
Yes. You don't want to deal with the bunkers here. It's a difficult green to hit.
All right. I want Mike Tirico, golf announcer, to analyze Mike Tirico, golf.
Oh,
okay, here we go.
Terrible.
And let's go out to Mike Tirico joins us. Mike?
Tirico comes up to the 4th hole. This is really a bad swing. He gets way too far behind, inside, and has to recorrect. Good thing he has some athletic ability to get back to the ball, but very inconsistent ball striker. Usually takes too much club, and when he makes flush contact, it goes too far. Thus, the reason for the 13 handicap that he carries, and he carries it very poorly, by the way.
All right.
We'll see how he does here at number 4.
All right, thank you. We'll get back out to you. Let's
go
to Peter Jacobson at 16. Peter, Mike, have fun with your daughter, and
Goodbye.
I will talk to you soon.
I'll talk to you soon. I'll give Fritzy a full update on number 4 after I'm done.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm going to take the over on Tirico getting a par.
Of course.
I'm going to go a 5. I'm putting down a 5 for you, Mike.
That's nice. It's very kind of you.
Yes.
Thanks.
I could have put down a 6 or 7.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.